Hey everybody! So today I want to talk to you about major scales. Now you might be thinking to yourself, major scales, that's something I learned when I was in elementary school. Why do we need to talk about that? Well, we're going to talk about something a little bit different today, and that is my method for doing major scales, which is going to really challenge you. I promise. If you've never done this before, this is going to be pretty difficult for you. So instead of just doing a regular major scale, we're going to use G major as an example today because I think it's one of the easiest scales for saxophonists. Everybody learns to play a G major scale when they first start playing alto saxophone, and it's just one that we've been conditioned to be able to play for what seems like forever. So here is the way that most people would play a regular G major scale. Or maybe with eighth notes. Sound familiar? You've probably been doing that since you were like in 5th grade if you started saxophone back then. So how do we take a scale like this, and all scales really, and how do we make it more difficult? How do we make it more beneficial based on the time that we're spending practicing this stuff? We want to get the most amount of benefit possible out of it while we're practicing. So here's what I do. I do what's called full range scales. Now this is a really, really important concept because it's going to stretch your technique and it's going to make your scale practice time so much better for you. So let's think about it this way. The reason that I'm using G major is not only because it's really easy and we're very familiar with it, but it covers a very easy part of the saxophone. I mean, playing from a low G to a high G, that's pretty simple, right? So what I want to talk about is how can we make that more difficult? And the way to make it more difficult is to play at full range. So what full range means is, obviously we can go up to a high F on the saxophone in the normal range of the saxophone, not counting altissimo. And we could go down to a low B flat, right? That is the range, the traditional range of our saxophone. So what if we were to, instead of playing G major 1 octave, what if we were to extend it to the full range of the saxophone? So I'm talking about, let's go up as high as we possibly can in the key of G. So that is obviously going to be up to a high E, correct? Because we can't go up to a high F, it's not in the key signature. If you have an F sharp key, you can go up to F sharp, but I want to talk about the traditional range of the saxophone. And we could go down to a low B, right? Can't go down to a low B flat, that's not in the key, so we're going to go down to a low B. That's the lower limit of the range of the saxophone. So now, all of a sudden, an extremely easy scale like G major becomes a heck of a lot more difficult because we're going to go all the way up to E and all the way down to B and then back where we started. So now we get this for a G major scale. Now you can hear that takes a lot more effort and is a lot more difficult than playing the regular 1 octave scale. Now the cool thing about this is we can do this with any scale, any major scale, any minor scale, whatever we want to do, we can do this, all right? So let's take C major, for example. Now C major happens to cover the majority of the instrument anyways, but we still get a lot from extending it all the way up to high F and down to low B. So here's what C major sounds like. So again, going all the way up into the palm keys and all the way down into the pinky keys down here. Now that's really the benefit that you're going to get from this. The palm keys tend to be one of the weaker part of the instruments because we just don't have a chance to use them as much as we use the front keys. So by extending every single scale up into the palm keys, guess what's going to happen to your palm key technique? That's right, it's going to get a heck of a lot better. And the other problem area on the horn is the pinky keys, right? So by extending every single scale down into the pinky keys, we're also gaining tremendous benefit from playing every single scale down there. Now, when you get to some scales like B major and F sharp major and you're doing them full range, that's where the pinky really comes in. Think about what you have to do on an F sharp major scale to get all the way down there. C sharp, slide over to B, slide down to A sharp, back up to B, slide over to C sharp. So you're really going to develop some dexterity with your pinky as well as your palm keys by doing it this way. Now, I also wanted to mention that I have just finished writing a book called Comprehensive Saxophone Warm-Ups. And I'll tell you, I'm a freak about warming up. It's the most important part of my day. And what I've done is I've compiled about 10 years of my warm-up routine and all the stuff that I do into about a 65-page book with tons of extras in there to get you better at warming up and try to get your warm-up to be the best that it can possibly be. So if you are interested in that ebook, it's only 20 bucks, but for the watchers of this video, I'm going to give you an exclusive 25% discount. When you go to checkout, just type in 25 off at checkout and you will get 25% off that book. That's only for the people that have found this YouTube video, so definitely use that and you can get it for only 15 bucks. And this book will take you years to get through. I'm serious. It has so much different stuff. Major scales, minor scales, intervals, arpeggios, chromatic exercises. Almost anything you could think of that goes into my warm-up routine is in this book. So go and pick yourself up a copy today. The link is going to be below the video to find my page for that. All right, let's do a couple more scales and then we'll sign off. Let me try a B flat major scale. Now let's try one of those hard scales. How about F sharp major? Ooh, that's a pinky buster, let me tell you. And if that's too hard for you right now, don't worry about it. This is going to keep you occupied for a while. Can you see that? All right, good luck practicing, everybody. Leave some comments below if you have any questions, and make sure you go and grab my book, Comprehensive Saxophone Warm-Ups. Talk to you guys soon.